Frozen Ice Lotus is finally in hand. With this, his young sister is saved. Seeing that there was still plenty of time, he immediately decided to complete today's daily quest first. At the same time, inside the Azure Phoenix squad room, members all went looking for Natalia. They came hoping Natalia could persuade Kelvin to join the team. Although Natalia knows this is unlikely to succeed, but she still wants to give it a try. Later, she came to Kelvin's place, and Kelvin was also somewhat surprised. "Do you have something to tell me? Kelvin, do you want to join our squad?" Kelvin was confused for a moment, but he quickly declined. "Oh, I see. Then my teammates will be sad for a while. By the way, thank you for saving us in the Stormwind Mountains." After saying that, she kissed Kelvin. Afterwards, she said hi to Kelvin and then left. And Kelvin was already stunned. He didn't expect girls nowadays to be so bold. At the same time, in a conference room, Watson was loudly saying that the investigation had found that Demon has already mastered the method of crossing over medium-sized rifts. And at that moment, a big shot spoke up. "Are you sure this is true? Do you understand what this intelligence signifies?" "I know, but this investigation is all true, and there is ample evidence. In addition, we have also discovered that only demons below level 30 can cross over and receive Watson's confirmation." He gave the orders decisively. "Counselor Nag, please notify all legions around the country to eliminate each medium-sized rift." "Counselor Zhang, you attended the international conference and shared this intelligence. Let's see the reaction." At this moment, another prominent figure spoke up, saying, "Commander, you said this intelligence owes much to an 18-year-old boy?" Watson didn't hide anything either. He provided them with all information about Kelvin. After hearing Watson's words, they were stunned, and not only him, but others were also somewhat surprised. Could it be that the genius of Su Province is a descendant of the Frostjoe family? To have been the top scorer in the Paladin's final exam in martial arts is indeed rare. Counselor Wang, once you return, please help us check on this genius. And this person is none other than Principal Jordan of Su University. Watson witnessed this scene. He knew that with the attention of these prominent figures, Kelvin is likely to rise to fame. One day later, inside Su University, the robots are making announcements everywhere, and the content of the announcements is: the freshman tournament will commence at 10:30 a.m. Please all freshmen head to the playground as soon as possible. The freshman tournament at Su University has finally begun. Various extraordinary prodigies have begun to show their talents. Kelvin even broke the historical record of the Grand Tournament dungeon. Not only did this attract Principal to personally visit, but it also unlocked the additional levels of the dungeon. Just happened. This freshman tournament is about the resource allocation of all freshmen. This is also the time when major academies are recruiting students. Therefore, the dean of each academy has come here. At this moment, the dean of the War Academy, Declan, began to speak. There are two stages in this grand tournament. The first is the Dungeon Challenge, and the second is the Arena Match. As Declan was explaining the rules of this grand tournament, Sophie also began to look for Kelvin's figure, but she couldn't find him in the end. And the classmates in the audience were all discussing Kelvin because they also noticed that he didn't show up. "I was hoping to defeat you in this grand tournament, but you didn't even have the courage to participate. How boring." "Alright students, the grand tournament is about to begin. Please get ready." "Silver Mystic Realm, open," Declan shouted loudly. The next second, a door appeared out of thin air in front of the classmates. They looked at this door. The classmates became more and more excited, because they couldn't wait to start the battle. This freshman tournament is crucial to your future. Give it your all. And this time, the dungeon information also appeared on the door, including the monster levels and 4 difficulty choices. Afterwards, they were all transported into the dungeon. Watching these energetic students, Declan couldn't help but sigh at the beauty of youth. As Declan watched the line of students entering the dungeon, he noticed that 001 and 003 were missing. Dean, they went to Stormwind Mountains before, and they haven't arrived yet. What's going on? The freshman tournament may affect their future. How can they be late for such an important event? Sophie quickly explained to Declan. However, Declan seems not to listen. He even intends to mark the two latecomers as bottom of the list. Just then, Kelvin rushed over, carrying Elena. Then, Kelvin's decision directly surprised the various deans. Because they unexpectedly chose the highest level of difficulty, the Abyss level. Because their goal is not as simple as just passing through the dungeon. With a flash of light, Kelvin entered this dungeon. Kelvin's desire for battle is growing stronger. He considers himself a combat maniac. He hopes that this dungeon will allow him to enjoy himself to the fullest. He hopes to be able to fully demonstrate his strength. On the other side, Elena has already started to fight with White Bear. At the same time, the red-haired man is also passionately fighting, using his fire control technique to blow up White Bear's hand and make him scream in pain. Other prodigies are also fighting against White Bear. Deans from various academies are also constantly paying attention to the performance of each student. At this moment, the window suddenly switched to Kelvin's perspective. The golden halo and the massive warhammer impressed all the deans. Even more terrifyingly, Kelvin is not just for show. He has only revealed a hint of his true power. This is all the more shocking for Xavier because Kelvin managed to pass the first level in just 2.5 seconds. This student is really something. He clearly only used a Halo support skill and managed to one-shot White Bear. Yes, the burning effect carried by Halo is truly amazing. Skill has high damage. There are many reasons. I cannot determine based on this combat alone. However, Kelvin's Halo skill, I haven't even seen it myself. This little guy is a bit mysterious. At this moment, Kelvin is still constantly challenging levels. He used a wide-range skill, Judgment of Light, to directly kill 200 White Bears with one hand, successfully completing the second level in just 1.5 minutes. He did not panic at all when facing the attack from the White Bear leader that followed. He was able to kill the leader with just one spear of victory, breaking the historical record for completion speed. Not only did he receive a skill book, but also a talent, which surprised Kelvin. He didn't expect this seemingly simple dungeon to offer a bonus talent. Because talents can stack infinitely. It is an important way for Class Changer to become stronger. Afterwards, Kelvin began to analyze in front of those 3 talents. Firmly guard fit tank, so he did not choose, and focus aura has a greater effect than agility because in combat, reaction speed is particularly important. It also has many functions to prevent skills from being interrupted. Just after Kelvin chose focus aura, an option appeared in front of Kelvin, which is whether to open additional levels or not. The door behind him also emitted a disturbing aura. This made Kelvin couldn't help but be very interested because he had just warmed up and had not fully enjoyed it. After watching Kelvin's performance, Xavier couldn't help but exclaim that Kelvin's combat awareness is extremely terrifying. Declan, who was somewhat dissatisfied with Kelvin before, also gained a lot of good impression. Even Element Academy Dean Alexander was sighing about Kelvin's amazing element control. Dean Lee of Weaponry Academy was also shocked by Kelvin's overall strength up to this point. Deans from the 5 major academies have started to come out and compete for recruits. Their reasons for recruiting are endless. Just then, the principal appeared, and his target was none other than Kelvin. At the same time, Kelvin had already entered the bonus level. The strong aura of evil emanating from the throne disgusted him. Where there is a god of light, there must also be a god of darkness. And within the god of darkness are some deities known as evil gods. They are different from other gods. Worshipping them requires sacrificing one's own life and soul. Due to their evil nature, they are banned in many countries. But there are often people who take risks. Because evil god can provide stronger strength, and it is not just humans who can believe in it, other creatures can believe in it too. So, undoubtedly, this is a monster that believes in the evil god. When it sees Kelvin arriving, it no longer hides. An evil aura suddenly bursts forth, because it also sensed a repugnant odor emanating from Kelvin. Kelvin managed to slaughter a level 19 demonized white bear at level 18, leaving the second-place finisher far behind in terms of clearing time. He also broke Tsu University's long-standing record in one fell swoop. However, the second-place contestant believes that Kelvin is all show and no substance. He even challenged Kelvin to a duel over this. Just now, the demonized white bear exploded with astonishing momentum, threatening to devour Kelvin. And Kelvin Combat's emotions are also increasingly expanding. He immediately challenged White Bear, saying, "If you have the ability, come and face me." Kelvin then launched the first attack with a Holy Storm, targeting demonized White Bear. However, demonized White Bear considered Kelvin to be very weak and didn't take him seriously at all. But just as the storm was approaching, it sensed the horror of this storm. But it was already too late by the time it arrived, its figure gradually disappearing in the violent storm. But the combat was not over. The killed White Bear unexpectedly revived. And at that moment, Kelvin also sensed that White Bear was resurrecting. And the resurrected White Bear's momentum is even more astonishing. Its terrifying presence alone would probably make an ordinary prodigy faint. So Kelvin no longer holds back, preparing to unleash the highest damage divine hand. A palm strike descending from the sky fiercely slammed White Bear into the ground. The mere overflowing ripples were extremely terrifying. And right in the middle, divine hand's White Bear was beaten without any ability to fight back. But because of this, the demonic White Bear was even more furious. It wished to cut Kelvin 1,000 times. But Kelvin didn't care about it, and wasn't afraid of it. Then Kelvin crazily used Divine Hand to strike at White Bear. One powerful move after another was bombing the demonized White Bear, and the terrifying power made people's hearts race. As the smoke cleared, the combat came to an end. It was evident that the White Bear had long turned into ashes. This time cleared the level. Kelvin's level has increased by 1. Also obtained a piece of gold level equipment. What unlimited resurrection, it's all fake. In the face of absolute strength, all schemes and tricks are futile. And the reason why White Bear can resurrect is probably related to that hidden fierce strength. This strength is somewhat similar to the strength perceived when using divine summoning. It is probably the residual strength of an unknown evil god. So after this strength is completely consumed, White Bear will not be able to resurrect. And this is also the only way to pass the additional level, continuously killing White Bear. At the same time, other classmates are still fighting desperately with White Bear. And the red-haired boy is no exception. He is currently fighting with the demonized White Bear. Fortunately, he has just leveled up twice not long ago, greatly increasing his strength. He just needs to spend a little more time, and he will be able to completely kill the White Bear. On the other hand, someone immediately recognized that this is the level S skill Divine Hand. They looked at Kelvin's figure. Every dean was sighing that Kelvin is too enchanting. They even started to suspect whether Kelvin is the son of some important figure. At this moment, Principal Jordan interrupted them, clearly trying to help Kelvin out of the situation. Even they didn't expect that the principal would actually help Kelvin. But now, what's more important is their astonishment at discovering that Kelvin's level is 19. Just remember that during the martial examination, Kelvin was only level 13. And now, he has actually gained 6 levels. Truly terrifying. In this matter, Jordan also told them that Kelvin had gone to Stormwind Mountains to hunt monsters before. He gained a lot from it. He was already at level 18 before entering the dungeon. Oh, he also single-handedly wiped out the entire Flame Demon Legion. So, the freshman tournament was just child's play for him. If it weren't for the resource allocation confirmed by the freshman tournament, he probably wouldn't have participated. A few minutes later, the second student after Kelvin finally came out. And that person was the red-haired boy. Seeing Kelvin in front, he was stunned for a moment, because he couldn't believe that someone could be faster than him. He even thought that Kelvin had simply given up on the extra challenge level and came out early. Because he comes from one of the 8 great noble families by the Ning River, as a genius from the 8 great noble families, he would never believe that he would lose to someone from a barren northern family. At this time, another classmate appeared behind the portal. That is Elena. Kelvin quickly caught the falling Elena. Kelvin, you are indeed faster than me. Kelvin was confused. Kelvin is Kelvin. How come there's an old brother added? You are a few months older than me, so it's fine for me to call you old brother, right? Speechless, Kelvin could only accept it. Right after that, many classmates also fell from the sky, and many of them were seriously injured. Immediately, all the teachers rushed up to help treat their injuries. 2.5 hours later, the first stage of the freshman tournament has been announced to be over. Next, the ranking and clearance time of each student will be announced. And the red-haired boy began to beam with a smile that almost split his face because he had already envisioned himself ranking first. Obviously, it was just a dream. As expected, the first place on the leaderboard turned out to be Kelvin. Seeing this ranking, he was even more dumbfounded. What's more important is that Kelvin is actually 15 minutes faster than him. So he became even more angry. He is the second again. How did you take the first place from me again? I must defeat you in the upcoming arena matches. At this moment, Kelvin also noticed that Darren. He couldn't understand why Darren wanted to climb so high. Soon after, Declan loudly announced that the arena matches of the freshman tournament officially began. And the rules of the arena matches are: each person has 3 chances to challenge, with a 5-minute break in between. Next, all the students began to challenge, one after another. And Darren, who has always wanted to prove himself, is no exception. He loudly extended an invitation to Kelvin. Come on! Kelvin, let's see who is stronger. The epic battle between Kelvin and Darren has finally begun. As the undisputed second genius on the Mystic Realm leaderboard, his strength is beyond doubt. With just his unparalleled fire control technique, he can easily outshine countless prodigies. And because he has always been the standout among his peers since childhood, he absolutely cannot tolerate losing to the same person twice. Kelvin is a bit confused about Darren's challenge. Soon, Elena told him that the second-ranked Darren is a genius from the Ning River noble family. Speaking of which, your provincial martial arts examination's top scorer was snatched from his hands. After listening, he just left. Because of the spirit of chivalry, Kelvin will never back down. When Kelvin approaches, his fighting spirit burns fiercely like the raging fire in his hand. The next second, he rushed towards Kelvin to attack. And the principal who was watching the match saw at a glance that Darren's combat decision was very correct. But Darren greatly underestimated Kelvin's strength. He didn't understand, let alone imagine. What kind of reaction does he need to release his skill in that moment, when Kelvin summoned the Warhammer? He intends to respond with melee combat. In an instant, Kelvin instantly appeared in front of Darren. A terrifying Warhammer struck towards Darren at a terrifying speed, and Darren took a solid blow. Even more frighteningly, his flame shield instantly shattered. But do you think it's over? Kelvin, who had disappeared from sight, was already behind him. And he could only watch helplessly. But he was unwilling to accept it, and certainly would not give up. Kelvin, however, did not hold back, delivering another crushing blow to Darren with the Warhammer. And at that moment, Darren activated the Flame Dragon's form, which was his final trump card. The amplification brought by the Flame Dragon's form was extremely terrifying. He experienced a terrifying amplification in both strength and speed. But it stops here. Because of the difference between Darren and Kelvin. That cannot be bridged simply by amplification. But Flame Dragon's form amplification is truly terrifying. He actually evaded that strike. And this also surprised Kelvin somewhat. He knew that close combat couldn't defeat Kelvin, so he planned to use ranged attacks to combat him. He then released Dragon's Breath towards Kelvin, and the next second, a terrifying flame appeared before Kelvin. And the classmates present couldn't help but worry about Kelvin. Because Dragon's Breath is a bloodline skill unique to the Flame Dragon bloodline. Facing Dragon's Breath, Kelvin is not panicked. He just stood there. He simply unleashed the Sacred Flame Wheel. Then, a miraculous scene unfolded. The flames were all absorbed by the halo. At that moment, a look of fear appeared on Darren's face. This is not what a typical college freshman would experience. It is clearly the God of Light, who governs all things in the world. But he still does not believe. He does not believe that a college freshman would be so powerful. Next, he continued to unleash Dragon's Breath towards Kelvin, but all of this was in vain. Darren's Dragon's Breath was unsurprisingly absorbed by Halo. Kelvin plans to use his prideful flames to defeat Darren's persistent obsession. Only in this way can he completely wake him up. At this moment, he still believes he himself will surely regain control of the flames. But cruel reality has taught him a lesson again, and Darren does not have the holy light protection like Kelvin. So, this combat ended in failure. And the winner of this combat turned out to be Kelvin. He completely defeated Darren with an overwhelming performance. And the classmates in the audience were already feeling extremely shocked. Because this is only a part of Kelvin's strength. I dare not imagine how powerful Kelvin's full strength will be. At this time, another provincial martial arts top scorer has caught the attention of the deans of various universities. Just because she wants to challenge someone. It turns out to be the unfathomable strong Kelvin. I am Chloe, a spirit Taoist at level 17. Please enlighten me. Spirit Taoists are not only skilled in using various talismans and sealing techniques, but also this class is extremely rare. Chloe sought out Kelvin because she developed a great interest in him, and she strongly insisted that Kelvin use his full strength and stated that she would not interrupt Kelvin when he unleashed his skills. At this moment, the classmates in the audience were also very surprised because they knew that Chloe was the heiress of the noble Song family, and also the only spokesperson representing the family in the outside world. Kelvin immediately agreed to Chloe's request because he had not fully enjoyed himself just now. Upon hearing Kelvin's response, Chloe couldn't help but feel happy. Then Kelvin used all his amplification skills. A powerful aura suddenly burst out. Just the aura he exuded was enough to make Chloe secretly frightened. And this is Kelvin's peak state. Just the pressure he exudes is enough to leave people breathless. Chloe knows that if she doesn't put out all her strength, she will probably be completely crushed by Kelvin. With absolute strength, Kelvin easily defeated the extraordinary prodigy Chloe and became the first place in the freshman tournament. He did not expect that it would attract the 3 deans to compete for it. Even the principal couldn't help but recruit him as an exclusive disciple. Just now, Kelvin was planning to face Chloe in his best condition, while Chloe also displayed all of her strength, engaging in a fierce combat that was about to erupt. Kelvin first struck with a hammer of repentance against Chloe. Chloe summoned a talisman to counterattack. Destiny is clear, the stars guide the way, the divine sigil reveals its holiness, heed my command, explode. Under Chloe's command, the talisman exploded instantly, blocking Kelvin's attack, but she found that Kelvin, who had just been in front of her eyes, had disappeared. Suddenly, a wave of fear surged through her heart. Just because Kelvin had unknowingly appeared behind her. Relying on her momentary combat awareness, she took on Kelvin's attack. But she is not feeling well now, because she senses Kelvin dismantling her attack step by step. If this continues, she will definitely be defeated. So she decided to use that move. Heaven and earth lend their power. Turn beings into elite soldiers, divine might revealed, obey my command. Appear. Kelvin understood when he saw Chloe's stance. This is the turning beings into soldiers from Taoist legends. This also ignited his fighting spirit. Next, one by one, Taoist soldiers with shapes resembling knights charged towards Kelvin. Kelvin immediately launched an attack. He swung his warhammer with all his might several times. He successfully killed several Taoist soldiers. But the destroyed Taoist soldiers slowly recovered and surrounded Kelvin. Although these Taoist soldiers cannot harm Kelvin, but Kelvin is also helpless against them. So Kelvin plans to catch the ringleader first. In the moment of repelling the Taoist soldier, he arrived behind Chloe and raised the warhammer in his hand. The next second, Chloe raised both hands hurriedly to indicate surrender. And this also made Kelvin somewhat displeased. He finally switched to full power mode, only to end up with this. Our strengths are simply not on the same level. There's no need to continue fighting, so I surrender. You freak, who wants to fight with you? The arena matches aren't just about combat. After saying that, Chloe left. She said that they can exchange pointers again next time, but as for when that would be, no one knows. Clearly, Kelvin was still not satisfied, so he immediately called out to all the freshmen. Is there anyone here who's not satisfied? I'm right here waiting for your challenge. As soon as he said this, the students in the audience suddenly looked towards the other side. They seemed as if they hadn't heard it all. And Elena had long turned into a fangirl, cheering for Kelvin. At the same time, everyone was exclaiming that Kelvin was simply not human, but rather a big demon. At this time, the deans of the 5 major academies were all making calculations in their minds. Declan is secretly planning and determined to bring Kelvin down. At the same time, the combat of the grand tournament is still ongoing. After being defeated by Kelvin, Darren's strength has greatly decreased. He was then challenged repeatedly, and his injuries made his defeat even more complete. 2.5 hours later, freshman tournament finally ended. Kelvin claimed the top spot in the freshman tournament with absolute strength. The end of the freshman tournament also signifies that the allocation of various resources has been determined. Next up is the time to start the house allocation process. Dear students, we at Sioux University have 5 major academies for you to choose from. Please select according to your own situation. The 5 academies are War Academy, Elemental Academy, Weaponry Academy, Tactical Academy, and Logistics Academy. War Academy focuses on learning more combat skills to improve survival ability on the battlefield and to better survive in war. Element Academy specializes in recruiting students whose main focus is elemental magic to study and explore the ultimate essence of elemental magic. Weaponry Academy offers training in the use of a variety of different weapons, combining the body with weapons to unleash greater strength. Tactical Academy aims to cultivate students' command and combat capabilities, enabling them to achieve victory from afar and strategize from within the command tent. Logistics Academy recruits more class character from the crafting class, who can learn various professional crafting knowledge. These are the introductions to the 5 major academies of Sioux University. Everyone can choose the appropriate academy based on their own needs. At this time, Elena couldn't help but be curious about which academy Kelvin would choose. Just then, Declan suddenly coughed twice and said, "Kelvin, if you come to my War Academy, I'll be your exclusive mentor." Upon hearing, "exclusive mentor," Kelvin was stunned. Declan quickly started to explain to him. Every mentor can choose an exclusive disciple, and the mentor's resources will also be prioritized for the exclusive disciple. In addition, I will give you 3 level A skill books. At this moment, Alexander interrupted classmate Declan Kelvin and reminded him to choose an exclusive mentor carefully. If you come to our Element Academy, I promise to provide you with a set of legendary equipment. After hearing this, Xavier, who is next to Declan, couldn't sit still. "Kelvin, if you come to my Weaponry Academy, I can provide you with any resources that are beneficial to you." Seeing that each condition offered was better than his, Declan immediately burst into a torrent of curses. Seeing these scenes of Dean and the competition for Kelvin, it feels somewhat familiar. When the conditions proposed by Dean were heard, the classmates were already excited. I didn't expect Kelvin to be so popular. Declan was already a bit angry. It's fine if it's a weaponry academy, but why compete for Paladin at the Element Academy? Suddenly, someone once again invited Kelvin to become their exclusive disciple. And the person who came was none other than Principal Jordan. If you agree, I will use the bloodline fusion technique for you. Hearing this, Kelvin became even more confused because he didn't understand the bloodline fusion technique. And the bloodline fusion technique is not only a forbidden curse level spell. It can also bestow humans with special bloodline spells. This spell not only enhances your constitution, but also makes your foundation more solid. In the future, when you level up, you will gain more attribute points and skill points. Kelvin unexpectedly received the Gold Honor Medal awarded by the country. This not only made the principal determined to recruit Kelvin as his disciple. This also made the principal willing to use the bloodline fusion technique on Kelvin, but he unexpectedly discovered a hidden bloodline within Kelvin's body. Just now, all the students were shocked by the conditions set by the principal. You know, the principal is a real powerhouse. With this support, won't Kelvin soar to great heights? Even Elena was especially shocked when she heard about the ability to change Kelvin's bloodline. And the three deans also knew that Kelvin was going to be taken in by the principal. After all, the conditions given by the principal were too terrifying. Suddenly, the principal took out a medal and said to Kelvin, "This is the Gold Honor Medal awarded to you by the country." Immediately, Darren was shocked. As a prodigy from a noble family, he knew the true value of this golden medal. While other classmates had only heard of it and never imagined it, today they actually witnessed a fellow freshman receiving such an honor. It is simply unbelievable. And Kelvin is even more bewildered. No matter how hard he thinks about it, he can't figure out how he has made a significant contribution to the country. Kelvin, this is what you have earned for your significant contribution in Stormwind Mountains, and it is well deserved. After hearing this, Kelvin is still a bit puzzled. In theory, he only annihilated a demon legion, which shouldn't be enough to receive this kind of medal. Afterward, without thinking too much, he happily accepted this medal. As for the matter in Stormwind Mountains, he planned to ask the principal about it later. For the enrollment by the principal, both in terms of status and strength, it was his best choice. So Kelvin agreed to come. "Teacher, I am honored to be your student." "Since you've agreed, then I'll take you with me first." "Why are you in such a hurry to take Kelvin away? Are you afraid we'll steal your disciple? Besides, who can steal from you?" After saying that, the principal took Kelvin away in front of all the teachers and students. So, the focus of the deans of major colleges is on Elena, the second-place winner of the freshman tournament. Does Elena want to become my exclusive disciple? The conditions are the same as Kelvin's. After listening, Declan couldn't help it anymore and immediately started arguing with Xavier. After all, who can stand someone who is constantly at odds with him all day long? At the same time, the principal took Kelvin to a private villa where various potions and treasures were stacked together. It was truly eye-opening. And this is also the first time Kelvin has seen someone with so many treasures. "This is my private villa where I store many treasures. It is also my training place. If you have any questions in the future, you can find me here." This kind of villa, Kelvin is seeing it for the first time. After all, a villa that can only be entered through teleportation. Who has ever seen it before? At this moment, the principal brought Kelvin to the place to perform the bloodline fusion technique. The bloodline fusion technique can give you a better foundation, and is the key to becoming stronger. The crucial part of this spell lies in choosing the source blood. In general, many high-level class characters are unable to level up afterward. They will all choose the fusion exotic race's bloodline to enhance their power. After listening, Kelvin was secretly shocked. Do even beings of your level have to worry about not being able to level up? Yes, after all, at my level, leveling up requires a large amount of experience. Currently, I am level 64, and it's almost impossible for me to defeat monsters of the same level, so it's very difficult for me to level up. By the way, this time I have prepared 3 types of source blood for your bloodline fusion. One of them is the source blood of the angel race. The other one is the source blood of the Titan race. There is also source blood of the dragon race. These are all powerful bloodlines that the divine progeny race can bestow upon you, but you can only choose one. The angel source blood is the source blood of the descendants of the god of light. Melting it down can give you higher affinity with the light attribute. The Titan source blood possesses powerful thunder attribute to release thunder skills, with damage that can double that of the dragon source blood. The dragon source blood, pure source blood of the direct descendants of the dragon god, has a certain suppressive effect on all beast races. After listening to Principal's introduction, Kelvin was stunned because all three races are high-level races above level 60. Kelvin did not know much about bloodline, so he asked the principal which source blood he should choose. And the principal was also impressed by Kelvin's calmness. He did not expect Kelvin to remain rational in this situation. Titan source blood and dragon source blood primarily enhance your strength. Angel source blood can provide an all-around boost, and the god of light has a close connection with you. No doubt, angel source blood is your best choice. Seeing angel source blood in Kelvin's vision has made Principal even more convinced that angel source blood is definitely the best choice. Teacher, I would like to ask why this golden medal is being given to me. Since you are curious, I won't hide it from you. When you annihilated a demon legion in the Stormwind Mountains, the military discovered that monsters can descend through small to medium-sized rifts. Upon hearing this news, Kelvin was also shocked. According to this, there are definitely many monsters hidden covertly. In fact, that is true. After initial investigations, the military has discovered that there are hundreds of rifts appearing in this situation. Fortunately, they were discovered early, so low-level monsters like the Legion can still handle it. After speaking, the principal asked Kelvin to return because he needed to prepare for the bloodline fusion technique this time. And he also gave Kelvin a teleportation device, instructing Kelvin to come back again at 2:30 p.m. tomorrow. A day later, Kelvin, as usual, completed the daily quest. The principal mentioned that the effect of bloodline fusion depends on individual destiny, also known as luck. So he thought of using a fortune elixir since it's about luck. Then this bottle of elixir must be effective, so he plans to try its effects. Coincidentally, he hadn't selected the reward for the daily quest yet. He immediately chose a random chest to test the effects, but he didn't expect to receive a level S divine treasures. It was like winning the lottery. Even Kelvin didn't expect the effects to be so good. He actually became the Luck King directly. With such assistance the next bloodline fusion is bound to be not too bad. Then Kelvin once again arrived at the principal's private villa.